Great career.
Michael, what
Wow.
about? What did you expect tonight?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to play a game when, it's not quite as much emphasis on the game, other than to see how Michael Jordan ends his career in a sense. And, obviously it's, I wouldn't say I'm not embarrassed, but it's just not I had better feelings in terms of playing competitive games. This is tough. This is new to me too, playing a game that doesn't have any meaning. Normally we're fighting for playoff position or something like that, but, the Philly people did a great job. I mean, they supported me. They gave me the biggest inspiration in a sense. I didn't think I was going to go back into the game. Obviously, the game didn't merit me, going back in and, maintaining or finding my competitive juices because we were 25 points down. So obviously, and they were playing the young kids and we were playing our young kids. So, but obviously, they wanted to see me make a couple baskets and then come off, and that was very, very respectful. And I had a good time. Obviously, I would much rather have won the game, but I had a good time.
Michael, can you?
I was worried when Moses was driving that cart. That was really.
Michael, can you put into words what basketball has meant to you?
Basketball's been my life. No way you guys have even come in contact with me without the game of basketball, and I wouldn't have come in contact with a lot of other people without the game of basketball. It gave me an outlet, and it gave me a chance to experience life all over the world, not just here in the States. It taught me a lot of things about life in terms of respect, hard work, determination, achievements, setting goals. A lot of basic things in life. That's what the game taught me, and I used the game as much as the game's used me. As a method of teaching the game and passing the game in the correct way to play the game, and obviously gave me a lot of opportunities. In terms of materialistic things, as well as just being able to touch people's lives, and express myself on the basketball court. So I feel like we've been a great relationship. It's been like my best friend, and obviously sometimes you gotta grow up and move away from your best friend. But it's always gonna be there in my mind, and nothing's gonna erase what I've attained just by having basketball as a friend.
Michael, was there a moment where you just said, "My career's over"?
I just kind of got that feeling. Now I guess it hits me that I'm not going to be in a uniform anymore. So, and that's not a terrible feeling. I'm not. I don't. It's not terrible. It's something that I've come to grips with, and it's time. It's time. And I've seen a lot of people say my first time, my second time. This is the final retirement. You don't have to worry about me putting on another uniform. But and I feel it. And I feel it. And I welcome the time away from the game.
Michael,
looking now that your career is over, can I ask you two questions? First of all, how do you want to be remembered as a basketball player? And secondly, as far as tonight, a couple times it seemed you were moved a bit, choked up a bit. Can you talk about your emotions tonight, as difficult as that may be?
When you got to give up something that you love, obviously it's an emotional situation. And I dealt with it. I came to grips with it, before tonight, and tonight just brings back, what impact you've had on people, not just in Chicago, not just in Washington, D.C., but everywhere that you played. And to hear them yell and to hear they pay their respects that way, it's a chilling event, and it felt that way. And I felt proud about what I've done over the years, playing the game. But in terms of me, I'm happy with that. I think I can move on without a problem.
And how would you like to be remembered?
Me, as just a guy who loved the game, and you can see the passion, determination, and just the way that I play the game. And I never took the game for granted. I was very true to the game, and the game was very true to me. It was just that simple.
Michael, in terms of moving on, with this franchise and knowing what you have here, what do you think you need to do? Is it a complete overhaul of the roster? You guys have done that a couple of times already. Is it just putting a piece here and there and letting it grow? Where do you think this needs to go in the short and long term?
Well, it's tough to assess right now, but obviously we did change our team of 3 years ago, and we will continue to change. I don't think I'm afraid to change. We got to find the right mix to move in the right direction and get where Philly and a lot of other teams are. And we may have to keep, I think there's certain components on this team that, we can utilize in that capacity. But then there's things on this team that I think we probably need to change, or they may need a different, atmosphere. So, I mean, I think until we get ourselves in a position where we consistently play the way we should play every night, you have to make changes. And it may be minor, but you still have to make changes.
Michael, when you left North Carolina, how long did you think you were going to play? And even when you came back in '95, what did you see as, just the end point?
Well, I mean, I never knew what my ending was going to be, but I once said that I wouldn't be playing at the age of 40. Well, here I am playing at the age of 40, and that's like, something trying to determine how long you're going to love a person. Love is a very delicate thing, and once you love it, you never lose the love for the game. You never know when you can walk away from it, And I tried a couple times, obviously for different reasons, but I come to grips now that as much as I love the game, there's other components that needs my love, needs my attention, and I can easily walk away. But I had no intention when I left North Carolina that I would be playing at the age of 40, And even each time I tried to put a time frame on when this love was going to be over between me and basketball, it really wasn't, and I don't think it ever will. It's just that I got strong enough to say this, I need to move away from it.
Michael,
Right
what's
here in
going
the
to
front
fuel
row,
your
right here in the
desire?
front row.
What's going to fuel your desire to compete? Like, what's next for you?
I have to live through the players of today, players that my kids, obviously because they have a strong passion for the game. But as I continue to try to do my job in Washington D.C., I have to live through that competitive nature of trying to put a basketball team on that court that's going to be a winner for me. It's nothing going to compare to me actually being in uniform. I mean, so obviously trying to put someone who have the same competitive drive as I would have, or something similar, I have to live through that.
Michael, is there something you're looking forward to in particular now, knowing that you've scratched this itch, you're not going to be in uniform again, that you really want to do that has maybe nothing to do with basketball?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things. I mean, I have to be a good supporter, at home, in a sense, with my kids who are getting at an age now where, they need, more of my time, and I will continue to do that. And my oldest is a basketball fanatic, and I haven't taught him the game at all. He's just loved the game and probably needs to be taught a little bit now. That's what I have to do some too, just so that he can be the best basketball player he can be, as well as my other son as well.
Over
Michael, how
there.
different was the playing experience in Washington compared to the playing experience in Chicago?
Totally different. Totally different. I mean, you had a material level that was totally different. You had a winning attitude, and everybody understood that winning attitude. Everybody understood the dedication that it took to give up parts of yourself, your game, for the one focus, and I'm trying to get these kids to understand that now, where you have to give up some of that selfishness, so that everybody else could, showcase and bond, and everybody shines, and that's tough for some people, and initially it was, I was taught that in North Carolina, obviously, and then once I get into the pros and everything was thrown at me so fast, it was tough for me to become unselfish in some respects and let Scottie Pippen, Bill Cartwright, and some of these guys, step to the forefront and gain some of that notoriety. I mean, so it was a totally different situation, and anyone that compared it to certainly don't understand the game of basketball. I mean, that is a totally different situation.
Two more questions, right here.
Michael, how do you view the state of the NBA as you leave it today?
I mean, the NBA is fun. I mean, you got a lot of young players who are starting to come into their own and learning more about their game and understanding the sacrifices of becoming team players, and learning how to do that within a structured system, from KG to Iverson to Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Duncan, all these guys that I named have learned how to involve their teammates. You know, and you still got some young players on the horizon who's going to continue to do that. You know, Vince, you know, those players are starting to understand that you don't do it by yourself anymore. You know, you have to involve other players, and that's the system that I want in Washington D.C.
Last question.
Has this retirement been more difficult than the first one?
No, it hadn't. I mean, the first one is a lot of other issues involved. The second one was not truly one of the things that, you know, I still wanted to play. I knew I wanted to play, but I didn't want to play for the situation that was occurring in Chicago. But now, I mean, I don't care. Whoever asked me to come and play, you know, I know that I'm not ready to play. I don't want to play. It's time for me to move on. So it's easier to accept that because physically I know it and I feel it. You
Can you walk away
Thank
happy
you.
now, Michael? Can you walk away happy?
Sure. I can walk away happy. You know, I've given everything I could to the game of basketball physically. You know, I can still contribute mentally, but I've given everything physically that I could to the game.
Michael, give your feelings about Philadelphia, where you've had so many milestones, and now to finish up here, what it means to be here.
I love Philly. You know, I never played here. Obviously, you know, in an ironic situation. You know, maybe you guys probably wouldn't know, but at the time that I committed to come pro, you know, in college, you know, I was projected to be drafted by Philly at the time. You know, which, you know, I think they were the third best record at the time, and then they went on to be the fifth. And you guys got someone other than me. You got to